Hello and a very warm welcome to Game On. I'm Meha Bhardwaj Alter and it's day one of the first test between India and England in Hyderabad. At the end of a cracking first day, India have put themselves in a position from which they will look to shut England out of the test match. By stumps on day one, India's score was 119 for 1, trailing England by 127 runs with young opener Yashasvi Jaiswal all guns blazing on 76 of 70 balls. Having opted to bat, England were given a good start by their openers Ben Duckett and Zach Crawley, who put on 55 for the opening wicket and forced Rohit Sharma to turn to spin for as early as the 9th over of the match. Duckett was the more aggressive of the England openers, while Crawley tucked into some easy deliveries from Mohammad Siraj, who conceded 28 runs from 4 overs. With pace not posing a challenge, Rohit went to Ravindra Jadeja and then Ravichandran Ashwin, and it was no surprise that spin delivered the breakthrough. In the 12th over, Duckett was out LBW to Ashwin for 35 of 39 balls, making it the 4th time in 3 test matches that the left-handed batter had fallen to the off-spinner. That gave Ashwin his 491st wicket in tests, and after Jadeja found the edge of Oli Pope for his first, the veteran off-spinner sent back Crawley for 20, who stepped out and was well taken by Siraj at mid-on. This meant that England had lost 3 wickets for 5 runs and it forced Joe Root to try and take the score to lunch without further damage. Johnny Bairstow came out with positive intent. He hit 5 fours before the morning session was up, with England going into lunch for 108 for 3. Now, the second session saw Akshar Patel get into the thick of things. First bowling Bairstow for 37 with a terrific delivery that pitched and hit off stump, and then getting the edge of Ben Foakes for K.S. Bharat to hold his first catch of the day. The next to go was Root for 29 when he mistimed a sweep shot off Jadeja and gave an easy catch to Bumrah at short fine leg. Bumrah was soon back into action with the wicket of Rehan Ahmed, at which time the score was 155 for 7. But from here, Stokes did what he so often does with the ball, with the tail, finding singles and rotating the strike to add 60 runs to England's score before tea. The final session began with Stokes hitting Jadeja for back-to-back sixes as he raised a superb half-century, even as Ashwin clean bowled Mark Wood to take his third. As Stokes continued to attack the spinners, Rohit called back Bumrah for the third spell, and the strike bowler needed just 9 balls to end Stokes' innings as well as the innings. Looking to make room and hit Bumrah for 4, Stokes missed the ball completely and was bowled for 70 of 88 balls. England thus were bowled out for 246 in 64.3 overs, a total which was made to look rather inadequate once Yashasvi Jaiswal started India's innings with a flurry of boundaries. The debutant left-arm spinner Tom Hartley's very first delivery in Test cricket was clubbed for 6, and before the over was up, Jaiswal had struck another maximum. Jaiswal in his first Test match in India continued to attack the rookie spinner and cracked a series of 4s as India got 50 on the board in the 7th over. Jaiswal got to his 50 with his 7th 4. He raised that 50 off 47 balls in the 12th over, but then came the breakthrough as Rohit on 24 skipped out to the left-arm spinner Jack Leach and played a bad shot to gift away his wicket. That ended an opening stand of 80 in 12.2 overs. Shubman Gill looked nervous when he joined Jaiswal, playing and missing and also surviving an LBW shout that was reviewed and was in stark contrast with how Jaiswal was batting. When stumps was called, Jaiswal was on 76 and Gill on 14 of 43 balls. Take a look at that scorecard. India in a commanding position, 119 for 1, courtesy an absolutely brilliant innings from the young Yashasvi Jaiswal. Now, the big question before this series began was, will baseball work in India? The writing may not be on the wall just yet, but it is safe to say that the concept of baseball has indeed found itself challenged like never before. Having gotten first use of a Hyderabad pitch with some turn from day one, England managed to put just 246 runs on the board, with just skipper Ben Stokes getting to 50. This after the first wicket fell at 55 in the 12th over. And then the manner in which young Jaiswal took on the debutant spinner Tom Hartley with 2 sixes in his opening over, the fight soon started to evaporate from Bazball in the field. Stokes also used up all 3 of his reviews inside 14 overs, which added to England's struggles. The first was as soon as the 3rd over when Mark Wood bowled a short ball down the pads of Jaiswal and Ben Foakes convinced Stokes to take a review. The second came in the 12th over when Hartley beat the edge of Rohit Sharma's bat and Stokes burned another review as replays showed a massive gap between bat and ball, and then moments later Stokes used up the final review on an LBW shout against Shubman Gill when he was new to the crease of the left armour Hartley. How costly will these blemishes prove for England as this test match progresses? Well, time will tell, but on the basis of today's play, the aggressive intent with the bat and ball has not worked to plan for Stokes and their head coach Brendan McCullum. While scoring over 100 runs in each of the first 2 sessions indicates how England plan to bat in India, the loss of 7-8 wickets in the process shows the risk attached to this approach. Too many batsmen trying to attack spinners of the quality of Ashwin and Jadeja, some tentative pokes to Akshar Patel, and not enough of application to try and keep India on the field for longer than they would like. Early days, perhaps, but have we seen the start of Bazball starting to evaporate in the face of India's mastery of their own conditions? Well, we'll find out. It's just day 1. At the end of day 1, this is what is our observation. But what happens by the end of this test match, we will find out. Okay, now forget Bazball. Young Indian opener Yashasvi Jaiswal played jazz ball in the final session of day 1 in Hyderabad to put India in a position of strength in the first test. First ball of the innings was hit for a 4, followed by another 6 in the second over, and he continued to punish the inexperienced English bowling attack. India were 19 for no loss after 2 overs, and soon India raced to 50 off 50 deliveries, their 4th fastest 50 in tests. Jaiswal hit a 47-ball 50, which included 2 sixes and 7 fours. Debutant Tom Hartley, as I just said, he was specially being targeted. He went for 63 runs in his 9 overs. Jaiswal ended the day unbeaten on 76 of 70 deliveries, hitting 3 sixes and 9 fours, and showed once again why he is India's brightest young batter and leaving lakhs of Indian fans with the hope of converting that to a big score on day 2. Jaiswal's introduction to Test cricket has been extraordinary. Having scored 100 on debut in just 5 tests that Jaiswal has played, he averages 56, having scored 392 runs with 102 50s. Today's knock was another addition in that aggressive brand of cricket that we have seen from him. Okay, moving on. England spinner Shoaib Bashir has finally received his visa, and he will link up with the England squad in India by the end of this weekend, announced the England and Wales Cricket Board on Wednesday evening. For all those wondering who was at fault here, let me clarify this for you. The England and Wales Cricket Board applied for visas at the Indian High Commission in the UK after naming the squad in December. Shoaib Bashir, who was born and raised in Surrey, did not receive his papers in time before their pre-tour offshore camp in Abu Dhabi. The reason being, while all foreign nationals are free to apply for Indian visas under various categories, the rules are different when it comes to Pakistani citizens or those of Pakistani origin. There's a process in place, and according to that, the clearance was received earlier this week. However, the player had travelled to Abu Dhabi, and while Indian embassies do issue visas, Ministry of Home Affairs has to take a call on it, and the approvals are done on a case-by-case basis. In his case, he had to fly back to the UK from UAE to get his visa approval. According to the Indian Foreign Office there are rules now and regulations governing the issuance of an Indian visa, and they were just following the protocol. The visa delay had snowballed into a controversy after the British government demanded that India treat British citizens fairly at all times in its visa process. This after England captain Ben Stokes revealed his squad had briefly considered refusing to travel until Bashir was cleared. Stokes' emotional reaction came in Abu Dhabi during England's pre-tour training camp when it emerged that Bashir had not received his documents, leaving him unable to travel with the rest of the squad and England support staff on Sunday. And he said, and I quote, "When I first found the news about it in Abu Dhabi, I did say we shouldn't fly until Bash gets his visa. But that was a little bit tongue-in-cheek. I know it's a way bigger things than doing this. That was probably just emotions around the whole thing. I'm pretty devastated that Bash has had to go through this. But now, thankfully, he's got his visa and he'll be here pretty soon. Away from baseball, all the way in far off Brisbane, there was another test match that began at the same time in a series far removed from the one India and England are playing. The opening day of the day-night test match saw the West Indies put up a fight against Australia. Having lost the first test in quick time, few would have backed West Indies to keep Australia on the field for an entire day while going a full session without a wicket, and that is exactly what the visiting team did, thanks to a super partnership between wicketkeeper Joshua De Silva and rookie Cavum Hodge playing his second test match. The pair was joined at the crease at the fall of the fifth wicket, with West Indies having just 62 runs on board, 3 of which went to Mitchell Starc as he reached the landmark of 350 wickets in Test cricket. In fact, he became the 4th Australian to get to that landmark. De Silva and Hodge defied the Australian bowling for almost 53 overs to take the team score to 213 before the former was dismissed. But Hodge found some assistance from the lower order to take his team to stumps at 266 for the loss of 8 wickets, which was not what many expected when the day started with early wickets. West Indies skipper Craig Brathwaite, he was the first to fall for just 4, nicking Josh Hazlewood. And later on in the session, the West Indies went from 42 to 65 for 5 as Starc took 3 wickets, just getting to 350 in Test to sit at 5th on Australia's all-time list. But thanks to De Silva, who scored 79 of 157 deliveries, and Hodge with 79, the visitors ended the day on a high. There was also an unusual decision by Australia by allowing COVID-positive Cameron Green to take field after he received the all-clear to play, given he took necessary precautions following the protocols set by Cricket Australia. Green and McDonald were separated from the rest of the team. There was a picture that was sent by Cricket Australia, that was posted by Cricket Australia, in fact, until they returned with negative results. Despite testing positive, they were allowed to participate in the test. In that video, Cameron Green can be seen standing away from the other members of the Australian team during the national anthems. This also is a visual representation of social distancing emphasized, during this time. So, interesting one there, where you've allowed a COVID-positive player to play in the side. Now moving on to tennis. At 43, Rohan Bopanna is at the top of the world rankings and in the final of the Australian Open. Who says age slows you down? Not in his case. A day after his quarterfinal win ensured that Bopanna would become the oldest first-time world number 1. He, along with his partner Pat Ebden, beat Zhang Zizhen and Thomas Marchek 6-3, 3-6, 7-6 under the closed roof at the Rod Laver Arena and reached their second consecutive Grand Slam final together. Bopanna and his Australian partner Abden were at a similar crossroads in their career, and their collaboration has been an instant hit. The duo had a brilliant 2023 when they won the Indian Wells Masters and reached 4 other Masters finals, culminating in the US Open final. They lost despite leading by a set. Now they're in the final of the Australian Open and Bopanna is world number 1. This is what he had to say about his achievement. He says, and I quote, "It's been an incredible 20 years playing this tournament week in and week out. And today, reaching the number 1 ranking, it's an extremely amazing and proud feeling." It probably hasn't sunk in fully yet, but still credit to the entire team. I'm proud to be where I am today at the ranking of number 1. So India needed this. Indian tennis needed this. I'm really happy to be representing India across the world in this tennis journey. There is so much love and support from the entire country for 2 decades. I'm thankful for all the support. Rohan also spoke about his journey, saying one has to be consistent and that there is no magic. And he says nobody reaches the world number 1 ranking without consistency. It's not an overnight achievement. It always comes after successive tournaments, doing well week in, week out. That's what I was able to do in 2023. Extremely proud of the fact that I've been able to complete my dream. It has been a little over a decade since I was world number 3, so truly proud to have made it happen. He also went on to speak about his success mantra. He says, you need to be disciplined. So this is for all the 40-plus old who want to be fit. He's saying you need to be disciplined as an athlete. For example, the first day I landed in Australia was January 4th. Since then till today, every single day I've gone and taken an ice bath, whether it's after practice or a match or whatever, because at my age, recovery is a major aspect before anything else comes into play. Having access to these things, to physios, to improvements in sports science, all that has made a massive difference in my career. With that, we're going to slip into a short break. When we come back, sports news continues here on News 9.
हमारी नारी शक्ति को सशक्त करने से ही देश सशक्त होने वाला है।
हर महीने महिलाओं को 1500 रुपए प्रति माह दिलवाया जाएगा।
What Nitish Kumar did to provide cycle to girls, so they could safely, quickly move out of the house, go to school, and quickly come back. Tring, 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 tring.
माँ अन्नपूर्णा तू ही, माँ अन्नपूर्णा है तू ही बीणा वादनी, हे शक्ति स्वरूपा जगदम्बा, हे नारी तू नारायणी।
News is now content. Just stream it. Download the world's first news OTT, News9 Plus, ahead of the curve.
Welcome back. Now, Germany's Alexander Zverev stunned second seed Carlos Alcaraz to reach the Australian Open semi-finals as a sublime display of serving took him to a 6-1, 6-3, 6-7, 6-4 victory on Wednesday. Zverev landed 94 of 111 force serves throughout the 3-hour, 5-minute contest. And even when Alcaraz threatened a remarkable comeback from 2-5 down in the third set, the German showed great composure to seal victory. In his 7th Grand Slam semi-final, Zverev will need similar accuracy as he takes on Russian Daniil Medvedev, a player he lost to on 5 of their last 6 meetings. Alcaraz, he was comprehensively outplayed for almost 3 sets, but belatedly found his A-game to win a third set tie-break with a mind-boggling flurry of outrageous winners. 6 seed Zverev was suffering from blood blisters on his feet during a riveting 4th set, but held firm under a withering Alcaraz attack. His brilliant serving and bulletproof backhand then got him over the winning line against a top 5 opponent for the first time at a Grand Slam. And moving on to this bit of news for Ronaldo fans, Saudi Arabian Football Club has postponed their proposed tour of China for friendly matches due to an injury to their star striker Cristiano Ronaldo. The Portuguese football icon is struggling with a muscle issue. He couldn't have played in Al Nassr's 2 matches in China. The first match was to be played yesterday against Shanghai Shenhua, and another match was lined up for Sunday with the Zhejiang Football Club. 5-time Ballon d'Or winner Ronaldo has issued a public apology to his Chinese fans for the cancellation of the tour due to his health condition. He is likely to be out of action for a couple of weeks. Al Nassr has announced that the tour will be rescheduled at the earliest. The Saudi Pro League club is also scheduled to host Inter Miami on the 1st of February in a Riyadh Season Cup encounter. The high-profile match will have Ronaldo playing against Lionel Messi. Ronaldo had scored 54 goals last year while playing for Al Nassr and his Portugal national team. Okay, moving on now with 3 months to go for the 33rd Olympiad in Paris. We show you these visuals to see how the capital city of France is gearing up for the Games. The Games will begin on 26th of July, precisely 3 years after Tokyo had hosted the last edition of the Games.
The countdown clock is ticking fast for the Paris Games, slated to start in 6 months from now. The capital city of France will have 15 competition venues for the 33rd edition of the Olympic Games, which will play host to 21 of the 32 sports in and around some of the most iconic monuments in Paris. The Olympic venues in Paris, as well as other parts of France and Tahiti, are getting ready to welcome the world's biggest sporting event, to be held from July 26 to August 11, 2024. Precisely 3 years after the last edition of the Games was hosted by Tokyo. Paris, the home to 2.1 million people, will also showcase its world-famous art, architecture and history to the millions expected to attend the Games. Beach volleyball competitions will be held on the Champ de Mars, a world-famous garden at the foot of the Eiffel Tower. This will provide an opportunity to watch the sunset while the athletes compete. On River Seine, thousands of athletes will parade in boats on July 24th for the traditional opening ceremony, while hundreds and thousands of people will line the banks. The Seine will also play host to swimmers during the triathlon and open water swimming events, the first time it has been deemed safe to swim since Paris hosted the Games 100 years ago in 1924. Across the river, built for the 1900 Universal Exhibition, the Grand Palais is being renovated to accommodate the fencing and taekwondo events. The Place de la Concorde at the end of the iconic Champs-Élysées will play host to new events like BMX freestyle, skateboarding and breakdance. These events are designed to encourage more interest from the urban young. Hotel des Invalides, built in 1687 as a military hospital and retirement home for war veterans, houses museums and monuments to French military history, as well as the tomb of Napoleon Bonaparte. Awarded the Olympics in 2017, Paris has been constructing venues for several years, with all work scheduled for completion in early 2024. This is the case for the Aquatic Centre near Paris, which will host the water polo and diving events. The Olympics will bring together over 10,000 Olympic athletes from 206 countries, while just weeks later, Paris will play host to over 4,000 Paralympic athletes. The events will be watched by more than 13 million spectators and 4 billion television viewers across the world, totaling about 100,000 hours of television broadcasting.
Well, this will be exciting. India had won 7 medals in the Olympics in Tokyo. How many will be this time around? I remember Neeraj Chopra winning a medal there, and then of course the hockey team that won a bronze medal for the first time, an Olympic medal rather, for the first time in 41 years. So, you know, this is going to be an exciting year. There's a lot of sporting action, and for all the details and updates on sports, any kind of sports, you have to keep watching News 9. That's it from us. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.
Pakistani spy agency ISI's sinister plan to target India. Training women to honey trap top civil and military officials. Counter honey trapping ops initiated by India. But gullible victims still caught in the web. Top military intelligence experts break down the web of deception. Colonel Hani Bakshi explains the phenomena of honey trap.
जहाँ पे भी आपको लगेगा, उनको लगेगा कि there is a person who is susceptible to women, who's making a lot of women friends on the social media. That is where they will make a spoof account and then start luring the person.
Colonel Pavitran Rajan decodes the psyche of the victim and the predator.
But when you go up the chain, no one enforces it to people at the top. That disciplinary regime and the security regime is not enforced at the top. And they usually have a public profile where it is much more easier to approach that person.
A News9 special on how modern technology has added teeth to the ancient spying tactic.
Our story takes you inside Pakistan's honey trap machine.
This and more, streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
Currently, the industry is facing a lot of challenges as far as demand is concerned. Basically, the US markets has slowed down because of high inflation.
So obviously, diamonds being a dream product, something which doesn't have a utility value or is seen as a luxury. So that obviously goes off your shopping list. That's the first item that will go off your shopping list, especially in recessionary trends.
That lab-grown diamonds are not mined, and they do away with the entire mining. So they save up on all the environmental damage that is associated with mining, and of course, the mining cost, which is why they're even more affordable.
People that is impacted by all these recessions are the artisans, are the people who work in this industry, right?